Hey, everybody. This is not your MDFL podcast. I'm your host, Mike. As always, I'm joined by Dave. Merry Christmas, Dave.
Merry Christmas, Mike, and Merry Christmas from our family to everybody's family in the MDFL world.
Thank you, sir. We have some huge games to go over today. So we're not going to delay this thing. It is Christmas night. Probably going to be a short episode. We're going to jump right into these things. I don't know who is with us. Hey, I still don't know who is with us. Uh, but Merry Christmas to you. I don't recognize your username there.
Don't recognize it, but Merry Christmas, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, we start off with this Broncos Titans matchup, which is probably done. And I'm just going to say that we belittled Sean's options at quarterbacks. And then one foggy Christmas Eve, Rudolph produced a Christmas miracle and saved Sean's season.
Well, let's take a look at what it took him to get Rudolph here.
Well, it is Sean, so I'm glad we started off with his here. He absolutely got a Christmas miracle out of Mason Rudolph.
So he goes off and gets Rudolph for $18 million off the waiver list this week. He is all in with Rudolph for the rest of the year.
Yeah, paid his remaining available salary, I'm assuming, to make sure that nobody else would beat him to the only available quarterback that would be getting snaps.
And it was
It
a great
obviously
great
paid off.
choice. So kudos to Sean and his Broncos.
Absolutely. Getting 32 out of Ingram, getting 28 out of Barkley, who's still going and could extend this lead. But we're calling it even though Dustin has Warner left.
Well, Fred Warner's averaging about 22 points a year, 22 points a weekend. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he could go off, but he's only scored 30 plus points 3 times this year. So, to get into that 40-point mark that he's going to need, he's just going to have one heck of a game, and I don't see it happening.
Yeah, and Saquon's such a big part of their offense that even if the Giants get the ball back, he's probably going to add a couple more onto that. So we
Hold
are
on,
officially,
the
huh?
Giants just did score. The Giants just did score. I don't know who scored for him. I didn't see that, but I just saw the score.
Yeah, I didn't see that one either. But yeah, we just still think 42 points is probably too much for Fred Warner tonight. And Barkley could potentially add a couple more onto here. They already are giving the 1 point to Sirianni for the win. So it looks like if they have the lead, they just give them that point automatically. Yeah, I mean, kind of a pedestrian effort out of Mahomes for Dustin, unfortunately, who has been very average over the last month, I must say. That 50 out of Brees Hall is pretty nice.
That
12
was a nice show up for
receptions.
Brees Hall and
Jeez.
Dustin's Titans this weekend.
Yeah, 190 scrimmage yard is nothing to shake a stick at there. So yeah, we're calling this one. Now our other one here is a bit closer than it looks. Rich going into the last Monday night game with an 88-point lead. Dave, why don't you tell the folks at home why this is not over?
Well, this one scares me a little bit for Rich. Rich has built himself a big lead here. Um, I know it's sitting at 88 points right now. Nick's got McCaffrey left. He's also got Isaiah Likely and Roquan Smith. McCaffrey, of course, can go off any night. He's averaging 33 points a weekend. Isaiah Likely, I can't believe that Nick's been sitting on him all year. Now he's been playing him the last 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks he's put up 25 points a week. So he's capable of 25 points, filling in for Andrews, who's out in that Ravens offense. And then he's got Roquan Smith, who's putting up an average of 21 points a week, which you add up those three totals, and that could be 79 points. So all of a sudden, that 88-point lead, especially if McCaffrey goes crazy and goes for 40 or a 50 mark, which we know he's capable. I don't think it's possible against the Ravens defense, but I'm
I don't know.
out smelling more like roses more times than not. So for me, this one's still too close to call, and I think Nick does still have some firepower left to be able to do some damage here.
I think it's very possible because if you actually look at who the Ravens have played this year, the only other major offensive team that they've played all year was the Lions, and the Lions didn't even show up for that game. The Ravens just absolutely shut them down. And otherwise, they played the Bengals before Burrow was even really healthy. And so the Ravens actually haven't played an offense quite like the Niners offense. So I think it is possible that they could keep rolling and drop 35 on this Ravens defense. I
And
do
if
very
they
much
if
think it's
they if they
possible.
do drop 35 points on them, they're going to be running the ball, and Roquan Smith could be adding up tackles tonight too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this 88.80 now 89 point comeback. What just happened? Did Hurts lose yardage? That was weird. Nick just lost a point live on my screen. It's now an 89-point deficit. We don't. McCaffrey could drop 45 by himself.
Yep.
We've seen that. We've seen that more than once.
Uh,
In fact, I
as
was
much
just
as much as I'd love to call this for Rich, I can't call it yet.
right. Yeah, I was actually just gonna go to like McCaffrey's week by week because it's pretty ridiculous anyway. And again, we're short on stuff to cover tonight, so we're reaching here. But look at this. Just over the last month, 36, 26, 36, 43. Uh,
Yeah,
they're
but you saw he put up
projecting
a
27.
60 points earlier this year,
Yeah.
so he's got a 51 and a 60.
Yeah.
Okay, they're both against the Cardinals. I get it. Um, but McCaffrey is just, he's the league MVP this year. He can definitely put up 40 plus easily tonight.
Easily. Yeah. Oops. I was looking at opponents' average, not what McCaffrey has done. Yeah, he put up a 50 burger last week and then a 60 burgers. He can do it. I mean, 40 against at the Seahawks, 36 against the Steelers.
Well, you got the other thing is you got Shanahan, he doesn't use his studs as a decoy, so he's going to feed McCaffrey the ball.
Shanahan is a great play caller. That's also part of it. He puts his weapons in places where they are just in a position to succeed. Oftentimes, targets being wide open. Great play caller. So, yeah, this one is not over despite this gigantic lead by Rich. That means if you're scoring at home, that Sean is probably going to find his Broncos in the championship game. None of us called that because we doubted that he would get the production out of his quarterback that we thought he needed to succeed. And we were wrong. He got the Christmas miracle with his nose oh so bright. And how about those Steelers yesterday? Wow. He gets their best offensive output of the season on Christmas Eve. Truly a miracle. And then again, yeah, this one is not over. Christian McCaffrey and Roquan Smith, those guys could put up 80 alone.
Yep, that's crazy.
So something to watch for tonight. Hopefully, neither one of these guys have to work tomorrow. They can watch the entirety of this game tonight. That is a lot still on the line and so much at stake.
Well, I have a feeling both of them will be up tonight watching all of this game.
And it should be a good game. I'm really glad that they put, probably the two best teams in their conferences, prime time tonight. And two of the best teams in our league are going to duke it out for a shot at the Super Bowl next week. So, what else can you ask for?
Yep.
So, that being said, so we're calling it for the Broncos in the Super Bowl again. Congrats to Sean for making it for a second year in a row. Um, Dave, what's in your gut right now? Are you seeing the Dolphins holding on?
I'm 80 points is still a lot.
It's a lot.
90 points right now. It's 90 points. I think it's still a lot, but I can't promise Rich everything. I mean, Nick's still got a shot,
He's got a shot.
and I think that's
Yeah.
really all that Nick wants is just a shot, and he's got a shot. And I'm going to tell you what: if he comes up close, Nick's going to be kicking himself in the butt for what he left on the bench.
Oh, he did leave some stuff on the bench, didn't he? I mean, some of these guys I don't think you would have expected to get this kind of production out of, especially George Pickens and his 195 2 touchdown night.
Well, then he had a pair of tight ends that he's got four tight ends, and two of them both scored touchdowns, and he played a different one yesterday that did not get a touchdown. We'll see what Isaiah Likely does tonight.
Yeah, and how about the safety for the Lions? Oh
Hey,
my goodness.
click on him and see if he's played him at all this year. Has he started him at all this year? Oh, nice free agent pickup.
Uh,
That's a very
yeah,
nice free agent pickup there, Nick.
yeah. Just happens to get 41 out of him in his first game.
So
On the bench, but that'll look nice next week, assuming he gets to use him. We'll see, man. Scott, I mean, if you had that kind of deficit, I'm sure, putting the ball in McCaffrey's hands is probably what he would want anyway. So
well,
it's going to be pretty exciting.
I'm sure with your quarterback, you're going to want that little short screen game to get Purdy's numbers up there also.
No, we just want handoffs. Just handoffs. That's all we're gonna do.
You want him to be the sixth highest scoring quarterback this year, not the
That's
top five.
correct. That's correct.
Otherwise, he's getting himself a nice $18 million raise this year.
Yeah, and Hertz doesn't seem to be doing enough to pass him. So hoping that Ravens defense really shows up, bottles them up. So yeah, I'm going to predict that Rich does hold on, that this is too much for Nick's storybook comeback, and that would leave us with the Dolphins Broncos
Which will be
championship.
your 6 and 7 seeds, believe it
Yeah.
or not. How crazy is that?
Yeah, again, I mean, props to Sean for making it with a backup quarterback. I mean, it just yeah, it goes to show he obviously had other guys that helped get him there.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. That being said, we are most likely planning on doing the show same time, same place next week. We would like to, if possible, get the two conference winners, well, not conference winners, the two Super Bowl participants. There we go. Whoever wins this week, we want to get you guys on the show. So, Sean, if you can make it on the show next Monday, we'd like to have you. And same for Rich or Nick next week.
Yep.
If Monday night can't work, let us know. We'll try to work something out. We may pre-record something, but it would be cool to have you guys on the show to talk about your epic Super Bowl run here. So, also keep in mind, Dave, you said there is still one Monday night football game next week,
There
or
is
there's
not a
not.
Monday night. Everything's done on Sunday next week.
Yeah, so if
So
we come to you next Monday, the season would officially be over when we do our next show.
that is correct.
So it'll probably be our last show of the year. So again, you guys, or really anybody who wants to hop on, we would welcome you. So that being said, I guess
I want to highlight one other thing here. We got
what
to
you
talk
got?
about the loser bowl here
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
highlight the 217 pick. And the surprise out of nowhere here is Gavin and his Ravens with a 327 mark this week. He's got two spots left. He's got his kicker, and he's got Lamar Jackson going tonight. So he ought to add to that lead. But you know, right now Gavin's got about a 50-point lead plus his two starters. Yet tonight over the rest of the field for that elusive 217 pick.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and still has Lamar to go. He's probably got that locked up.
So, anyways, good weekend for for Gavin and his Ravens. We'll see if he
Yeah, and
can
of
hold on
course,
to it next week.
we were talking about this one before we started the show. Where the heck did this Christian Barmore 59 come from? Nobody has any idea. Like, really?
I looked at that, and Gavin has started him twice all year long. You look at the opponent's rank versus the defensive tackle, and the Patriots versus the Broncos. It's the number one. The number one. It's the worst matchup. It's the worst matchup for him, and he starts him, and yet he puts up 59 points. I mean, that's the type of luck that I need. That's the type of luck that Nick starts.
You scored 30 last week. Yeah. Wow.
Crazy.
So
Anyways,
leading
good
all
pick. Good pick and starting him, Gavin.
he is leading all scorers this week. He is this week's highest scorer. So congrats on that.
That's before McCaffrey plays tonight.
Yeah, true. That
Or
is
Purdy.
true. Yeah, that's wild. All right. So yeah, congrats to all of you and Gavin for potentially getting an extra draft pick. We've seen how valuable those can be. So yeah, that's probably gonna do it. Again, at least we've got an exciting game tonight, a lot on the line. And also, again, for anybody that wants to join us on next week's show, let us know. We'd like to get you guys on and talk to you about the Super Bowl. So
And
that'll be
possibly
fun.
might even pre-record it before the matchup, or
Yeah,
before all the Sundays games.
Yeah, if next Monday doesn't work, we can pre-record something. It doesn't. I pre-record it and then I launch it later. That's an option too, so we can talk about that. I'm off this week, so I got all the time in the world. So, all right. So good luck to the four remaining teams. Again, we are pretty much calling it and saying the Broncos are in the Super Bowl. And again, for if you're just catching the end of the show, Nick has a shot. He's got Roquan, he's got McCaffrey going, and that's enough to make up this huge deficit here. So it's not over. It's not over. Good
And
luck to all of you.
give Dustin and his Titans a shot. Fred Warner may go off. I mean, he's capable.
Yeah.
He hasn't shown it all year, but he is capable. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
He is a hell of a player. Nothing would surprise me, So, yeah. I mean, it's not like getting 59 out of Christian Barmore or anything. He's Fred Warner, so it would be a lot less surprising. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. As we know, just the two matchups to go over. So, short show tonight. And our last show of the season is next week.
Yep.
So, all right, Dave, anything else before we sign off?
Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to Jason. Jason's not here tonight. My Falcons played his Colts. Obviously, we know the results of that, and Jason's still crying in his beer over that one. So, best game that the Falcons have played defensively all year long, and I can't even rib him about it because he's not here. So,
yeah,
in case you missed it, Jason, I'm still going to remind you about the Falcons Colts game.
Yeah, the worst the Colts line have played all season, the most sacks they've given up all year against the Falcons, who just lost to the Panthers the week before. And I seriously just wonder if they took them lightly. I really do.
Well, the Falcons can't even tank properly. They're out of the playoff running, and here they are ruining their draft picks. It's so typical Falcon football.
Very frustrating. Also, typical of the Colts the last few years to be in a position to control their own destiny and then lose games that could otherwise clinch a playoff spot. I've seen that a couple times here lately. I'm hoping it's not the same show with a different head coach. So we'll see. All right. Well, that being said, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. You have four more hours to enjoy Merry Christmas. Enjoy tonight's football game.
Enjoy it. Enjoy that game, and good luck to those who are still alive.
Yeah. We'll see you, Mike.
See you, Dave.